Okay, so let's start with a really counterintuitive idea. What if I told you that you could perfectly fix a broken piece of DNA, but the cell it's in is still, well, permanently broken?
Yeah, it's a fascinating premise, right? It gets at this new concept the authors are calling chromatin fatigue.
Chromatin fatigue. So what does that mean? I thought when you repair DNA, the job's done.
Well, that's what we all thought. For
Yeah.
years, biology has been, laser focused on the DNA sequence itself, the linear 2D code.
Right, just making sure all the letters are back in the right order after a break.
Exactly. And a double-strand break, a DSB, is it's about the worst thing that can happen to a chromosome. So our cells have these incredible, elaborate systems to fix them.
But the genome isn't just a flat string of letters, is it?
Not at all. It's folded into these incredibly complex 3D shapes, these functional units called topologically associating domains, or TAAs.
And those folds are what control which genes get turned on and off. They're critical for function.
Precisely. So the huge unanswered question was, okay, you can stitch the 2D sequence back together perfectly, but does that vital 3D architecture actually snap back into place?
So how do they test that? How do you even measure something like that?
They used CRISPR, basically as a molecular scalpel, to create just one single targeted break in the DNA.
And they did this inside a massive TAD that controls a really important gene, CMYC, right?
Yes, and they made cuts at 12 different spots all across this huge region to see if the location mattered.
So the big question was, does a cut way over here affect the gene way over there?
And it absolutely did. They found that a cut up to 800 kilobases away, which is a huge genomic distance, still caused the CMYC protein levels to drop.
Okay, but maybe that's just, some temporary chaos while all the repair machinery is swarming the area.
You'd think so, but that's the kicker. The effect was still there 24 hours later, long after all the standard markers told them the DNA sequence itself was completely fixed.
Wow. So the damage signal spreads across the whole domain, and it sticks around.
It sticks around. The fatigue sets in.
That persistence is just, it's wild. It leads to the next big question. If this were just a messy side effect of repair, you would think the cell would just hit reset when it divides, right?
The daughter cells should get a clean slate. That would be the logical assumption.
So, is it a clean slate? Is this damage actually heritable?
Well, that's what they tested next. They took those cells that had been cut and then allowed to repair, and they just let them grow and divide for days.
And the results?
The daughter cells, they remembered the damage. The clones maintained those reduced CMYC levels for up to 96 hours through multiple cell generations.
And it wasn't just that the expression was lower, right? I thought the paper mentioned something else, something about variance.
That's a crucial point. It wasn't just that the volume was turned down. The dynamic range, the variance of the expression, also decreased.
So it's like the regulatory system got locked into a lower, less flexible state.
Yeah.
It couldn't respond as well.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's a stable, inherited trait, which is what really supports this whole chromatin fatigue model.
Okay, so if it's not a mutation in the DNA sequence, what is the actual physical scar that's being passed down from one cell generation to the next?
To figure that out, they had to map the 3D structure. They used some very high-tech microscopy to essentially measure the physical distances between different parts of this TAD.
To see if the folding had changed.
Exactly. And they found that after the repair, the whole domain had it had loosened up. The two ends of the TAD were physically further apart.
So it literally gets stretched out of shape.
It does. The average distance increased from about 0.45 micrometers to 0.63. And that structural change had a huge functional consequence.
How so?
Well, the little regulatory RNAs that normally act as a scaffold to hold all the key proteins and enhancers in place, they couldn't stick around anymore. The scaffold fell apart and they just dispersed.
So the entire regulatory hub collapses because its physical foundation is compromised.
Precisely. And this really defines what could be a whole new class of lesion. They call it epigenomic damage. It's a scar on the structure, not the code.
And the physiological cost of that scar seems enormous. They showed that these fatigued cells couldn't respond to their environment properly.
Mm-hmm. They stimulated the cells with a growth factor that should normally cause CMYC expression to skyrocket.
And in the repaired cells, it just didn't.
It was a massive drop, a 60 to 80% reduction in their response rate. The cell just becomes less adaptable, less dynamic.
Which makes you immediately think about the implications for things like CRISPR therapies.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge note of caution. You might go in to fix one target gene,
And you could accidentally be creating this long-term fatigue in the whole neighborhood, silencing other important genes without ever even touching their DNA sequence.
It adds a whole new layer of things to consider for safety and targeting.
Okay, so let's try to boil this all down. 3 key takeaways for you. First, just because you fix the DNA sequence doesn't mean you fix the cell. Repair can fail at the 3D structural level.
Second, this chromatin fatigue, this architectural scar, is heritable. It gets passed down from a mother cell to its daughters.
And third, the functional consequence is a serious loss of dynamic responsiveness. Key genes, like CMYC, become locked in a low state, less able to react to signals.
Now, we should add one important caveat here. This was all done in HeLa cells, which are a cancer cell line and known to be genetically unstable.
Right, so we need to see if this holds true in healthier, more normal cells. That's a key next step.
A very key step for the field.
Definitely. But even with that note of caution, it leaves you with a pretty profound final thought, doesn't it? How much of cellular decline, disease, or even just the process of aging isn't driven by classic DNA mutations, but by the slow, silent accumulation of these inherited, invisible architectural scars?
Welcome to the Everyday Journal Club. I'm Hope, a biologist with 15 years of research experience, now fortunate to be working in a Nobel Prize-winning lab. This channel has 3 main goals. 1, to help you stay effortlessly updated on the latest scientific breakthroughs. No paywalls, no jargon overload. 2, to build a supportive community where we can exchange the most valuable experience-based research advice. 3, to share valuable strategies and concrete examples on how to achieve meaningful scientific breakthroughs. Once we reach 1,000 subscribers, I'll begin releasing content focused on the 3rd goal. Let's go! Let's make great science together.